Hey everybody, what's up and welcome back to the channel. We got some more Hail Caesar goodness for you as we're working our way through more of the late medieval period here. So we got the Italo-Normans today, so roughly late 11th through 12th centuries. Lots and lots of things going on with the list. So if you're playing Hail Caesar, certainly worth looking through why they made some of the choices as far as what the list composed. But really that would make the video overly long. There's already going to be a fair bit to talk about. So we're just going to jump in and obviously, assuming if you already have an interest in the period, you're going to know kind of like why the units are organized the way they are, and like some of the choices you'd make with your list building. So this is an interesting one here. We have a split list in the sense of we have to have a little bit of cavalry and infantry. We can't just go all out in one. They have to be at least 25% each, so we could go balance or skew towards one or the other, depending on what you like to do. That being said, of the cavalry, 50% of that cavalry has to be knights. And then we have bow-armed Saracens have to be 50% of the infantry, so the non-skirmishers, that is. So this includes Saracen medium infantry with mixed arms. Typical divisions here, so 4 units excluding the skirmishers has to be led by a commander. That being said, also, Saracen bodyguard must belong to the general's division where present. Otherwise, Saracens and Sicilian Greeks must be fielded in their own divisions with their own commanders, so no mixing this multicultural list up as far as within the same division. There's a lot of different influences we can draw from for the list, but they do have to be in their own divisions. But it would make for a very colorful and distinct looking army. And here, skirmishers per division, 25% of infantry as well. So let's dive in, guys. There is a lot to absorb here, lots of options for us, but it could be a powerhouse list too for the time period. So we have, starting off here, dismounted knights as heavy infantry. So always nice to have access to that. Basically, very similar to like the, back when we were covering different Roman lists, basically like your Roman legionary type of unit here. So 7s, of course, for heavy infantry, the short range split there, 3-0, 4-up save as you'd expect, and stubborn built in, all for 29 points. So good stuff there just for having that as a nice typical frontline infantry unit. We do get also heavy infantry with spears, so basically a little bit cheaper, short range of 3, and still the heavy save and all that, but no stubborn there, which is, I think, a large part of the discount. Then we have heavy infantry with bows or crossbows as subunits of the heavy infantry. So there we're getting a little bit of both. So we're taking a hit as far as clash and sustain, so not quite as good in combat. But for that, and again, we're hitting 27 points for these guys, we are getting long range of 3, which makes them excellent for long range duties. We still have the heavy infantry morale save, but they do fight as subunits of that, so no other things happening there. But we have a couple other options here. We can reduce those to make them small units. Again, still subunit of heavy infantry, and they get downright cheap there. 21 points for small units of heavy infantry. Haven't really had that before in any of the lists, so it's a unique option to really think around and plan around and see if we can maximize that. Now, if we wanted to discount even further, we could make the subunits medium infantry. So we're taking another hit there, as you can see. So if we go to small units, we're still getting the heavy save, which is really cool. But we're going to take a little hit in stamina, of course, because we're a small unit. The clash of 5 and sustain of 5, yeah, that sucks. We're dropping down to small. But again, we're a subunit, so we're actually kind of still punching pretty hard for what it is. And even if we took the hit one more time and dropped to medium infantry, we're going into the 4s, so they're not going to contribute as much. Incidentally, the small units still throw 2 at long range, so that's actually a pretty neat deal. So we can really make a very potent missile battery, essentially, of those units. And we'll drop the morale save to 5 there. That's a hell of a discount, too. That's minus 9 points, so we'll be looking at 18 points a pop for some medium infantry subunits. That's a discount, guys. So definitely some interesting things to wrap around there. Now then we have Sicilian Greek medium infantry with spears, so just a generic medium unit basically. Spear armed though, 23 points. We do get same affiliation essentially, the Greeks here. Light infantry with spears and or javelins as small units. So again, not going to get much out of these guys necessarily, but they do provide an interesting little bit there. Still 6+ save too for these guys. Interestingly, not a subunit of the medium infantry for this. Saracen medium infantry with spears and or javelins, essentially a clone of the Greek version there. And then here, though, a unique wrinkle with the Saracens, 1 point extra, and basically we get 1 point of long range out of them because we're going to give them bows. That's actually pretty interesting there for 24 points. Not going to do too much with just that one die, but again, when you can potentially just have your whole list be missile armed in some capacity, that does provide some interesting wrinkles, or most of your list, right? Every once in a while, you'll put that extra damage through, and sometimes that can be the deciding factor. We do get Saracen medium infantry with bows as a normal sized unit. Again, okay fighting wise, right? Medium infantry, actually. So for bows, they're not light. So we do have 5s and 5-up saves, 24 points, but it's a normal sized unit, so we're getting that 3 for the short and long range, which is pretty cool there. Now, if we don't want to pay the 24 points, we can get a discount light infantry with bows. We'll take the typical hit there on the fighting. The morale save is going to go away completely here, so no 6-up save. Not that 6-up save is really all that great, but for 4 points cheaper, if we don't want to expose the archers necessarily, ideally to really combat potential, we'll keep the 3 at long range. Pretty cool for 20 points. So, but wait, there's more. Then we get onto Saracen skirmishers. So basically we have like the full-on skirmisher package here, basically. Skirmishers with bows, small units, 12 points. We've seen that over and over again. Suitably weak there with the 2s for fighting, so they will just melt in any kind of combat. Interesting thing that's unique to this list here, the skirmishing serfs with mixed arms as small units. So 9 points, which is one of the cheapest things we've ever seen in the lists. We get a slight bump in clash up to 3, so go levy there. Still no morale saves for these guys, but interesting that they can do that. Then we get into some cavalry where the list also excels. Knights heavy cavalry with lances, just some regular old heavy cavalry badasses there with lances, 33 points. We could make up to half of them tough fighters for a single point. So yes, we will do that as much as we possibly can. That's well worth the 1 point. And then if we are fielding the bodyguards for the general's unit, or general's division, Saracen heavy cavalry bodyguard with lances, same as above, although 37 points. We only get the 1 unit, but we get tough fighters built in and stubborn, which is pretty potent so far already, right off the bat for cavalry. We definitely have some heavy hitters. We have retainer medium cavalry, more lances, so 30 points, generic medium cavalry, but we do get lances. So if we got to save a little bit of points here, we can definitely squeeze this in if we're going more for the other expensive units in infantry. Retainer medium cavalry with spears, if you want that a little bit cheaper, essentially. Not quite as potent offensively, 27 points. Saracen light cavalry with spears and or javelins as small units, so some harassing cavalry. No special rules for any of these guys, though, here. So light cavalry with bows, though. Pretty cool option as a small unit. 2 long range there, 17 and 19 points respectively for these last 2. And then we get another interesting one here, Berber medium infantry with mixed ranks of spears and or javelins and bows. Not sure why they decided to include the Berber one here and not part of the infantry. I guess they did put the 2 Berber units together just to emphasize that they are, again, separate from the Saracens and the Greeks and all that. But it's a little bit confusing breaking the typical pattern there. So just realize you do have another medium infantry unit available here too. And again, it's a nice toolbox unit. I always am a fan of those. They are, again, medium, so we got to respect what medium infantry can and can't do. But the fact is we get 3 short and 2 long for 25 points. No special rules needed there. Finally, the Berbers give us a cavalry unit, light cavalry, a very good harassing unit. We get feigned flight out of these guys. And then basically the typical light cavalry stat line. No long range for them, but they're there to get in there, cause some damage, and bounce back out. And then for the whole thing, we have leadership 8 to round everything out. So all in all, again, another potent list for this period here. A lot of interesting tricks that we could do. Again, we could skew heavily towards infantry or cavalry, or just have a nice mix. I think this one really, the list definitely lends towards a balanced approach. Just because with all the different division restrictions with, like, hey, we gotta have Saracens here, Greeks here, Berbers there, etc. So we got enough things to contemplate there. Although you could just say we're going to simplify it and maybe just, hey, it's going to be this list, but we're going to focus on the Greek units only, or or as much as we can, or then like the Saracens, which we do have to include some of, and so on and so forth. So a lot of things that we could do with this list, but I think very good across the board. A lot of options. No artillery in this, not that we necessarily need it, but we have a lot of tanky units with access to a lot of heavy type units, cavalry and infantry. We got a lot of good all-rounders with some good fighting ability and missiles, plenty of missile firepower to go across the board. Super heavy hitters there with the knights and the Saracen cavalry. And then also the interesting quirk that we have with some of the infantry where we can do the subunit thing. So all in all, pretty cool, guys. Let us know if you fielded this list in Hail Caesar, so the Italo-Normans, and how that's gone and what you've put it up against. Love to hear from you guys. Hit us up in the comments, like, subscribe. If you want to support the channel too, head over to Warlord via our link. Anything you pick up from that helps support the channel. Greatly appreciated, guys. Thanks so much for watching.